The following hour is brought to you by MidasResources.com, your trusted source for precious metals since 1996. Call Midas today at 1-800-686-2237.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Campbell here calling from tomorrow down in New Zealand. As many of you will have learned maybe on the show before, we are a specialist organization down in New Zealand that produce what we believe is the highest quality deer velvet in the world. Now, for those of you who maybe haven't heard this sector before, then let me tell you a little bit about deer velvet and a little bit about mountain red, because we've been in producing this material now for over a decade, and we started really because we wanted to bring what is an exceptional natural product to the West.
Hi, Dr. Bill here.
Hi, Dr. Bill. How are you doing? We started without you, so that's okay.
That is indeed. You're so knowledgeable. Please tell me. I'll just listen and learn.
Well, indeed, just saying in terms of to your listeners why we started this whole adventure over a decade ago was we recognized that there was a lot of velvet grown in New Zealand, and the bulk of it was going into the Asian market, so the traditional Chinese medicine in particular. And very little was actually entering into, if you like, the Western side of the world as a dietary supplement and as a functional ingredient. And there were lots of reasons for that, but what we really wanted to do was we identified that really what was happening was the poor quality material was ending up in dietary supplements. And that was causing an issue in that people had very high expectation about the sort of benefits they'd get from taking deer velvet. They tried it, and then they were a bit disappointed. Because what they didn't realize was that when the velvet antler is removed from the deer, then the whole stick, what we call the whole stick, was going into China. And it was the very poor quality. It was ossified. It was bony. It didn't have this incredible mixture of active ingredients. And that was what was happening going into supplements and poor quality supplements. So really what we did was we changed that model, Dr. Bill, and we said what we will do for the first time is we will guarantee that in our supplement form, so in our capsule form, you have deer velvet from our farm down here in New Zealand, that is of the highest quality, and that it undergoes minimal processing. And importantly, it doesn't have adulterants in it, such as xylazine, which is a sedative. And really, what we've seen in the last 10 years is an enormous interest and a resurgence of interest in deer velvet. It was sold many, many years ago as an aphrodisiac. It's one of those areas that, well, we've never really pursued, because there's far more interesting benefits for people taking deer velvet than that. And we've spoken at length over the years that you and I have known each other, Dr. Bill, in terms of the joint health benefits, the cardiovascular health benefits, and
any organ, because this is what I call the tagline that you should have on the bottle is deer velvet. It says 100% natural velvet, and should say below it, to build a better you.
And that's exactly it. And what we've seen, and what is backed up by science, is that of these 396 active biomolecules that are present in mountain red, so many of them are critical for good health, for rejuvenation, for building the base blocks upon which we function. Now, it's a sad reality that as we grow older, our bodies become potentially less able to regenerate and to grow and to produce a lot of materials that we need for good health. And what we've seen is that people who are taking mountain red deer velvet, they feel better. The first thing they report is that they have greater energy. They get up in the morning, they feel refreshed, they've had a good night's sleep, and they can attack that day with vigor. They've got that energy, they've got that exercise, they've got that bounce back, if you like, in their step. And we know that there are some critical components in deer velvet that allow people to do that. We also talk a lot about restoring flexibility and movement. in that there are many ingredients that are sold there, but in terms of the key ones within deer velvet, we're talking about things like glucosamine, chondroitin, and also this stable of growth factors that we know actually have a very positive effect on joints, on tendons, on ligaments.
Yeah, there's some fancy naming categories. I think, and I did some research back a few months ago, and there's like at least 8 major categories. Altogether, there's 396 biomolecules from cryptochromes to matrix metalloproteinase proteins. These molecules do everything from signaling scalar signals to cells to building blocks for structural proteins in cells, rebuilding cell membranes, organelles like Golgi apparatus, and the reticular activating, and the what's called the system for making actually ribosomes for making new proteins and enzymes. I mean, everything is there. This is like the parts department for your cell.
That's right. And, we've got so many reports and testimonials now from people over the 15-odd years that have been doing this, right through from young people, from teenagers, right through to seniors, to professional athletes. So this really is a product that is suitable for a wide range of people, a wide range of activities. It doesn't matter whether you're a senior who wants to play with the grandchildren, who wants to get that flexibility back, if you're a weekend warrior who's out there and you're playing squash or tennis or mountain biking or surfing, and you need something that gives you that edge in terms of recovery from that exercise. Whether you're doing yoga, whether you're just wanting to have more energy, whether you want to boost your immune system because you recognize that immunity is really the key to good health, you will benefit from taking Mountain Red. And what we say to people is, be careful, because not all deer velvet is the same. We say to people, by all means, go on and have a look on the internet. You'll see a plethora of products, from really, really expensive sprays. Now, we're talking there about sprays that are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 we've seen them for. Right down to product that's, And
by the way, some of those are kind of crazy. They have one called Royal Velvet, and all they basically try to do is liquid extract the IGF-1. That's not what you want. You have to have all the other building blocks.
That's it.
By the way, growth hormone stimulates your liver to make IGF-1. When you give growth hormone, or you give our microdose, which is actual growth hormone, our microdose, 100 nanograms per spray, or you take Supernox, which releases the nitric oxide that releases growth hormone in your brain. But what you want is all the growth factors. There's 6 growth factors. You want the building blocks. You want the tool set. You want the the erector set for your cell. I don't know how wrong-headed it is, but why do people think if they can extract one thing and then they drive the praise through the ceiling and tell people it's a miracle molecule? The miracle is an orchestra. It's not one player. It's not the oboe in an orchestra. It's not the violins. It's the whole orchestra.
That's it, and that's, I think, a very nice analogy, in that you go to a concert, you want to hear that whole cross-section. You don't want to just hear the flutes or the violins. And that's exactly what you get with Mountain Red. You get the whole orchestra of these incredibly potent bioactive compounds. Deer are the only mammalian animal in the world that every year regenerates bone. So at a biochemical level, it's doing something quite incredible that has not been done really by any other animal in the world. So what we're doing is we're harnessing that power in this antler. We're removing the antler in a very safe way. It doesn't harm the animal, and it's something that's completely sustainable. It grows back every single year. So in terms of ticking the box, in terms of environmental responsibility, in terms of safety, in terms of sustainability, we do that. It's the highest quality deer velvet that you can get in the world. And that comes with our personal guarantee. We've been doing this for a long time now, and we've had so many positive testimonials from people all around the world that start taking our Mountain Red deer velvet, and they feel the benefit. They get the benefit in terms of well-being, in terms of energy, in terms of exercise performance, and really it just lets them get on with their life, doing what they want to do in a safe and easy manner.
Yeah, now the testimonials we have, and we're talking about head to toe. We have people that recover their brain after, say, radiation and chemotherapy, after traumatic brain injuries. We have people that have had surgery and they want to have surgical recovery that maintains good tensile strength, the ligaments, tendons, skin recover from plastic surgery. We want to see people recover from, say, hepatitis or heart disease like congestive heart failure or hypertension, vascular disease, they've had a bypass. In every condition, head to toe, traumatic, surgical, radiation, otherwise, Mountain Red Deer helps improve athletes and people with serious disease, recovery from almost any health condition, and dramatically improves the extent and the velocity of healing. Welcome back to our Health and Wellness Hour. By the way, all hours are open lines if you have questions on a specific topic. Today we have Ed Brown on at least for half an hour once a week because we have so much to talk about with the ProLine Infrared Sauna and the vibrational discountvibrations.com website. If you go through our Nutrimedical website, you're going to save and you're going to get great advice. Ed, there's a questionnaire you can fill out when you go to the link from our site that'll help people to decide what kind of machines are the best. The core ones we talk about are VibraCore 1000, which is similar to the Vibra Slim. Then you have the higher energy vibrational VibraCore 3000 and 5000, but there's so many different machines available there from every possible type, from the vibrational cage, which is all around the person, to vibrational platforms, so you can actually set up an entire part of your floor, vibrational therapy. Vibrational exercise, I think, should be the core of all training because it deals with proprioception, lymphatic pumping, Golgi tendon apparatus to stimulate proper muscle, what's called muscle feedback, so you get recruitment of the slow and fast twitch fibers. It does muscle and tissue and connective tissue protection. It increases tensile strength of the bones and the connective tissues around the ligaments and fascia. It breaks up adhesions. And, of course, it raises the metabolic rate and releases growth hormone. It tightens up skin, and it pumps lymphatics and helps get rid of edema. It's great for getting rid of cellulite. It takes away pain. It's a microchiropractic and central body Pilates. It has so many benefits. Can you think of some additional ones that are helpful?
Well, a lot of people with the varicose veins, it's very helpful for that. You're getting circulation and microcirculation throughout the body. Anybody suffering with diabetes, it's phenomenal for. If you have balance issues, MS, any kind of disease that would cause a problem with the balance, it really is helpful for fine-tuning the balance again. Blood circulation throughout the body, you're going to get the osteoporosis, osteopenia, fibromyalgia, all those things. It's just phenomenal for those.
Yeah, in other words, we know the studies have shown 10 minutes of 3 10-minute sessions over 1 month will cut balance problems in senior citizens, even into their 80s, by over 80%. Every senior home should have these machines. Every fitness center should have them. Every high school, every gymnasium, anybody that's doing dance, let's say they're dancing and they're a professional singer or dancer on Las Vegas or elsewhere. We know that Madonna uses them. We know that Justin Timberlake uses them. We know that all the pro athletes, even the Biggest Loser, use one of these machines. These are very, very, very useful. They should be the center even of pro athletes. For example, people that don't have proper proprioception, and we talked about this with our Jerry Strybos. Proprioception is extremely central. Mr. Gronkowski, the big Patriots, super heavyweight, super athlete. He obviously was heavy on the strength, but he didn't have enough tensile strength in his knee. If he had better proprioception, using more of a vibrational platform, it would be very likely he would not have ruptured his ACL because he would have much more bioprotection, and you would have had higher tensile strength too, because it strengthens the tensile strength of your connective tissues and increases bone density. So when we put people on our bone protocol, which is bone generator, bone crystals, MyCell D3, Myco D2 for regeneration, and the full vitamin K2, Collagen Max, and the tendon mender, joint performance. What happens is that you need to increase the actual physical compression of the bone crystals and the physical stretch on the connective tissue to stimulate the enzymatic strengthening of the ligaments and the connective tissues around the joints. And it does that. It's just amazing. Do you have any kind of testimonials, or do you want to describe different types of the equipment, like the 1000, 3000, 5000?
Sure. Yeah, and I'd say what you were saying before. I mean, with the pro athletes, I mean, if you go back, a lot of people are just starting to hear about these machines now. If you go back about 8 years, you couldn't touch one of the machines for under $10,000. They were made basically exclusively for major sports teams, NFL, NHL, NBA, Olympic athletes. That's who was using this technology. In the last 5 years, they started making home versions where, basically you're still getting all the benefits. It has the same technology in there, but they made it more affordable. You can get something around, $2,000 to $5,000, so the home user was able to get them, and that's, really starting to explode in the last 5 years. In the technology, there's different vibrations. It's not just a machine where the platform's vibrating. There's different types of vibration. They'll range, when you start researching this, between a sonic, which in my opinion is the best. You have oscillating, side-by-side, teeter-totter, pivotal, and linear, which is straight up and down. And each one's going to really, you're going to get similar benefits on different vibrations, but different ones are going to focus on different aspects of what you're trying to do. So, in other words, say you have a lymphedema, a lymphatic problem, you want to, to work on the detox. An oscillating machine or ideally a spiral is going to be perfect for you. Somebody who's looking to lose weight, build a bone density, blood circulation, weight loss, that's going to be a tri-motion or a tri-planar machine is going to really be the best for that. So it really depends what you want to do. And so if you go to the bottom of Dr. Bill's site or go directly to discountvibrations.com, that's discountvibrations.com. You'll see a quiz there on the top, a little green tab. And in taking that, it's going to ask you a lot of key questions. It'll kind of weed out what's best for you, and it'll steer you towards the right machine, what's going to work best for you, for what you're looking to do.
Now, it's best to go through our website links, as it'll be tracking with cookies. But if they do go directly to your site, Discount Vibrations, how do they tell them that they've been sent by Nutrimedical and Dr. Bill?
Always mention Dr. Bill. We give special discounts to all of his listeners. So whether you fill out the quiz or if you speak to somebody, always mention Dr. Bill. You get an extra discount on anything that you're doing. So that's key.
Right, exactly. Now, we want to coordinate that with your other care, too. So if you get a device, you want to make sure that you're integrating with the best nutraceuticals, which are NutriMeds, and integrated technology and the right type of testing. For example, I tell people if you're monitoring to make sure you're reversing, say, osteopenia, osteoporosis, the Genova Lab urine test, which can be done as literally as every 3 or 4 weeks, will tell you if you're reducing the level of deoxypyridinium subunits or pyridinium subunits of collagen. Those subunits will show up in your urine because they're passed right through the kidney glomeruli unchanged. You don't want to do a DEXA scan except every 6 months. It's a waste of time to do a DEXA scan more often than every 6 months, but a urine test for these subunits of collagen is very, very useful. And the thing is that 42% of the dry weight of bone is collagen specifically, and you need to stimulate that collagen with the right type of motion as well as the right nutraceuticals. Because a lot of people think it's just calcium. It's not. It's calcium to magnesium in a 2-to-1 ratio, silica, boron, manganese. You need all of these different elements present, and you need to have the proper building blocks. That's why we talk about Collagen Max, Tendon Mender, Mountain Red Velvet, Joint Performance to build up the cartilage. All of these factors, Mycel D3, full vitamin K2, menaquinone 7, vitamin K2, and the Myco D2, which is going to give the D2 as well as the D3, Mycel D3 for your rebuilding of your bone. Really important, and of course we have the trace elements there. We'll be back in a second. We'll continue. If you have any questions about Discount Vibrations, or we'll talk about the ProLine Infrared Sauna. Let's continue. And if you look at that website, you'll be amazed. This is the center point of any fitness program, is vibrational exercise therapy.
Communications Network, GCN.
I remember when I lost my mind.
That's good.
There was something so pleasant about that place.
Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report. Ed, how do they contact you? What's the 800 number as well if they want to contact you directly?
Sure. For Discount Vibrations, you want to go to 1-800-975-6981. Again, it's 1-800-975-6981.
81. Let's talk about some of these different vibrational equipment for a minute. because I tell people it's one of the things that I found most remarkable, and this is years ago, and I was going to one of our Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine conferences, and they had the Force Blade out, they had other devices. Some of these are super expensive. You mentioned the new Sonic one, and these are like the highest end of the list, and they built a new Sonic device that's with a price and a range that makes it affordable. Some of these devices were like in orbit how expensive they were, because they actually translated vibrational sound like music directly into vibration that you could put into the machine. These new devices, this new one allows you to have a if you call it a lower end machine, it would take someone under 275 pounds. It has all, even the new advances, even over the old machines that were really expensive. Some of them I think were like $18,000 or something. You know, movie stars and rich people bought them. But this one is much more affordable. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Sonic machines, the Turbosonics, 2 years, just even as little as 2 years ago, you weren't able to touch one for, they were like, $10,000-$15,000. They actually revamped the company a bit. They switched their factory. Before, all the boards were being made analog, and which was, I mean, you still got the great benefits, but the problem was they were getting so hot. Each machine, depending on the size, had between 5 to 8 fans running inside that to cool up the circuitry.
Right.
So basically what they did was they redid the machines. They made them more affordable. They're using digital now, so there are no fans whatsoever. There's less that can go wrong with them. And it's just a better built machine.
Okay,
and
which
the
one is
machines
the one
that
that's...
used to pay $10,000-$15,000 for. Now you can get one as little as $39.95 and still get that Sonic technology, which is amazing.
Wow, and which one is that now? Because I see, and if you look at the subpage, it's on the bottom right-hand side when you go to the link from our website to the discountvibrations.com. You go to the right lower part of the top of the screen to Turbosonic. There's the Turbosonic X7, Turbosonic X5, Turbosonic Professional, Turbosonic Life, and Turbosonic Personal. Which one are you referring to as the best price there in that list?
Yeah, your best buys right now, the two best buy machines right now for the Sonics. One's going to be the Pulsation. That one sells for about $59.95. And then you have another one that's called the Personal. That one is $39.95. Now the only thing with the Personal is it's a smaller machine, and you'll still get all the benefits, but that's for people. That's designed for people that are 250 pounds and less. If you're going to be up there around 260 or more, then you really got to step it up to the Pulsation. But if you're a smaller person, not really smaller, 250 is still a pretty big person, but 250 and lower, if that's what's going to be used in the machine, you can do a Personal, and we've been selling those like crazy.
The other device you're mentioning is the Turbosonic Life. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah, the Sonic Life is now referred to as the Pulsation. That's the one. That one was for $59.95, and phenomenal machine. I mean, I used one. One of my friends had one at his house for about 3 weeks, and you just felt so amazing from it. I used to come in the house, and I just made a beeline for it without even thinking. It's just, you feel euphoric. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah. Now, of course, the 3000 and 5000 of the VivaCore are really awesome machines, but they basically every kind of machine you can think of. For example, there's a device that even has a cage where you can do pull-ups, you can do side squats, you can literally bring every muscle in the body. You've got the vibrational plates, the Vibe plates, where you can actually put a whole bunch of plates together and have an entire vibrational platform therapy area. Vibrational therapy is a really big deal. It should be used by our military, by our sports, by our senior citizens, by high school teams, etc. And the reason is because it incorporates lymphatics, proprioception, and it amplifies the muscle contraction force. So, for example, if you squat on one of these devices at, say, 35 cycles per second or 50 cycles, you're getting thousands of contractions and Golgi tendon apparatus effects in your muscles every minute. So it's like you're doing thousands of squats or push-ups or whatever. Like, for example, if I do push-ups with my perfect push-ups on my vibrational machine, it's amazing how you can feel it working on your shoulders and your abdomen, and it recruits all those muscle groups. Just 10 or 20 push-ups in one set, and it's amazing how it has that effect, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We've had big bodybuilder guys come into the show. And they laugh, like, "Oh, this machine's not going to do anything." And we basically just had them hold a plank position, which is, you put your arms out and you're holding a push-up position in the upper, position. They did that for about 20, 30 seconds. The next day they came out, they said they felt like they did 2 hours upper body workout. So
right, yeah, it makes a big difference, and it's also non-traumatic. The nice thing is you can do this right after even knee surgery, for example. or back surgery. It's not going to traumatically tear things, but it's going to stimulate things to heal.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people that can't work out, for whatever reason, you're able to get a non-invasive workout for the muscles. If you are able to work out, you can just enhance your workouts that much more. So it's great for everybody, depending, whatever your fitness level is and what you're trying to do.
Well, one of the things I use is the TheraBands. I have got what's called body elastic bands and resistance, and I have a athletic bar, one of these gymnastic bars that's bolted into the ceiling, and I use that as resistance, and it helps a lot with the bands that are attached to the device. Can we also talk for a moment about the infrared sauna? These are incredibly important. I tell people detoxify or die is a watchword of Sherry Rogers, one of our Academy of Environmental Medicine docs. And I like your term because it's very appropriate. If you're not detoxifying, you're dying. Now, I have some newer techniques for detoxification. We use magnetic field, but infrared sauna is the core. The far near infrared sauna will mobilize toxic chemicals and heavy metals, and you can prove it. You can do a QRMA test. You can do tests at labs like Genova, Metametrics Lab, and other labs, hair analysis at Great Plains Laboratory, stool and whole blood analysis of heavy metals and toxic chemicals. You can use AccuChem laboratories. You can prove to yourself, if you're real skeptical, that this is making your body dump these nasty things out of your body. So tell us all about what this does in the latest development, because it's the carbon 360, very low electromagnetic frequency in terms of electropollution, very powerful, much lower temperature than the old-style sauna. You can be in the 120s in terms of degree and not burn yourself, whereas the old-style steam sauna can burn you but will not detoxify you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they hear the word sauna and they think, oh my God, I can't stand the heat. You don't need to be that hot. A traditional sauna is 170 to 180. It could actually be, raise your blood pressure. It's not that great for you. With the infrared sauna, you can be lowest.
In my sauna, which has been upgraded, I'm usually getting into the high 120s, and I'm fine. And you're going to be 110, 120. You're going to be able to get a really deep sweat going. It's much safer temperature, and instead of raising your blood pressure, you're actually dilating your blood vessels. You're getting better blood circulation. It's been shown to actually lower your blood pressure. So you're detoxifying. Infrared is penetrating up to 4 to 6 inches on all four sides of your body. It's vibrating the water molecules in your body. It's shaking loose those toxins. This, in turn, you take the nutraceuticals to grab the toxins once they're shaken loose, and it's really the core of detoxification. It's the only known method for remobilizing toxins is infrared. So, and we're not just talking about toxic chemicals; we're also talking about heavy metals too.
Yep. Yeah, you get mercury, PCBs, everything, things that lodge in the fat layers of the body. They just slowly leach out over 10, 20 years, and they build up. They keep leaching out. If you don't get them out of there, that's what's going to happen until your system can't handle it anymore, and then at one point it's too late. So it's better to do a daily detox, keep your body from ever getting to that point. It's really what you're looking to do.
Well, what we notice is that a lot of diseases happen when there's a serious free radical or emotional or crisis. And it turns out the body dumps toxins in the middle of an emotional crisis or a free radical surge. We see it also with electropollution, and it's important at those times to have the nutraceuticals on board, but you want to be able to have a controlled release of these toxins, get rid of them out of your body, take the right nutraceuticals, and make, as I say, you got to detoxify if you want to stay healthy. Thank you, Ed Brown. Amazing. Again, discountvibrations.com. Make sure you mention that you got the information from Dr. Bill. Their 800 number is 800-975-6981.
Up until now, we have been losing the war.
Welcome back, and we're talking to Ron Patterson. One of the things when people try to get control of pain, and I tell people, you have to correct the problem. You don't want to block it. The current drug approach to blocking it is using non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, supposedly to reduce prostaglandin levels. But there's good prostaglandins they block that cause problems with gastric erosions, crossing the blood-brain barrier, interfering with proper prostaglandins there. They also cross the heart, muscle, and blood vessel walls and can cause damage to normal, healthy prostaglandins. So you don't want to be taking on those. You want to actually fix the problem. The first step is you want to correct the disrupted collagen in connective tissues. Secondly, you want to reduce the inflammatory reaction and improve the blood flow. The cytokine levels, you want to reduce those. And you want to help the tissue start to heal. When the tissue heals, it turns off the pain reflex. It turns off the biomolecules, bradykinin, neurotenins, and other molecules that are present in the tissue. And I reviewed a number of years ago the specific molecules present in the skin. There's a little complex in the skin called the Langerhans complex, which I discovered it's in my patent in 1986. It's a primary pain gate. There's actually 7 pain gates in your body, all the way up to the areas of the thalamus and the highest levels of the cortical areas of the brain that pick up pain signals in the areas of the superior temporal lobe. And what people should understand is that pain, the primary pain gate, is actually your skin. No skin, no pain. Believe it or not, if you don't have skin, you can't suffer pain. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
And it turns out even if you have cancer or a broken bone or crushed vertebrae or an organ that's been fried chemically or with radiation, without skin, you cannot suffer pain. Isn't that bizarre? And the reason is almost like the computer screen. It's like if the computer screen has gone black or blue screen, there's no pain signal. And what happens is that pain signal is at the area where the tissues, that little neurodermal junction called the Langerhans junction, detects things like broken collagen fragments, specific molecules that signal that the connective tissue is disrupted, and tell us that the organ, basically, don't move this organ because it's broken, and if you do, you'll further disrupt the organ structure. So when we take things like our nutraceuticals, like Mountain Red Velvet, Tendon Mender, Collagen Max, etc., and then we use infrared light therapy to improve blood flow, to turn off the cytokines, the inflammatory molecules, to improve the signal to increase tissue regeneration and stem cell activation. Light therapy is pretty amazing. Use setting number 7 to take away the pain. And I tell people, just start to introduce a little bit, like 5 minutes, maybe after an hour or so of 7, of Nico setting, to try to stimulate healing. Don't go crazy and think, well, I want to leave it on a half an hour on Nico. Don't do that. You're going to increase inflammation in the tissue until the pain signal has been suppressed sufficiently. You can start stimulating the healing process because you're going to increase blood flow, increase inflammation in the area. And do take our nutraceuticals like Cell Defense and Inflamex. Do take topicals like Magnus Smooth, our topical curcumin cream, which is liposomal curcumin, very powerful anti-inflammatory. Take things like Neovasc, which is niacinamide, that's very good for osteoarthritis, for turning off inflammation. Take enzymes like, for example, like Allergon, that gets rid of histamine and other enzymes that can stimulate the pain reflex in the tissue. And the Inflamex is the most important, I would say, for interfascial or connective tissues. Ron, can you tell us about how you approach somebody with, let's say, a sprained ankle, or they've got a post-op recovery after an ACL repair?
Let's just say, okay, sprained ankle. Usually they call me and they usually have an ice pack on their ankle or something like that. So look at it. So that's a place to start off. And then if they're coming to the office here, then or if they're using it at home, I would say you want to use it on the ankle area. You're going to use it on number 5, and the Nico setting is probably the combination that works best in that situation. And if it's a fairly acute one, within the last few hours or so, I would say something like this, the body responds to extended periods of time use. Use it for the first 30 minutes, evaluate. If it seems a little bit better, keep going. And it may take 2 or 3 hours, but we've had people that have been able to get up and start walking again with very little pain and almost completely healed. So if it's an acute issue, that's where the body really responds rapidly in most cases. So that would be one right there.
Yeah, that's a really good example of how to approach it. Now, it's very similar with something like somebody's post-op. Let's say they had a partial knee replacement. They had a meniscal repair, ACL repair. How would you approach that, say, in somebody's knee?
Yeah, Yeah, it's really pretty much the same way. It's that
right.
We've had several people that have had hip replacements and hernia surgery and things like that. And that really dramatically heals. Very often while they're still at the hospital, and they're with hip replacements. Again, we've had incredible success. In most cases, this is where a spouse is there using the lights as soon as that person gets back to the room.
Okay. What setting, and how long?
They're using number 7 for every bit of pain, and then as soon as the pain load backs down, they start using the NICO. And from the very beginning, the very first person that did this was a 72-year-old pastor here in our community in rural North Carolina. Really sharp guy, really had actually a doctorate in theology, that sort of thing. He was a smart man, and I did it for an hour on his hip. And he said, I got to go to the bathroom. So he got up and walked to and when he got to the bathroom and started coming, he went, wait a minute, I walked down the hall. And I'm not in pain. And
that's not unheard of.
He literally said, his wife looked at me and said, can we take this to the hospital? And that was one of those where I'm not normally a clever guy, but I said, don't ask, don't tell. And that's, so they said, I said, use the 7 as much as you can for pain, NICO for the healing. He had the surgery the next day. When they brought him back to the room after the surgery, his wife was waiting, and when everyone else left the room, they started using the NICO setting, and 2 hours later, he had to go to the bathroom. He got up and walked to the bathroom. And he said, well, that was okay. And he said, well, let's go for a little bit further. So they walked up and down the halls there until the doctor who had done the surgery went nuts and said, what are you doing? And he was walking without a limp. He had no pain. And they gave him permission to drive home 8 hours after the surgery, and that was it. And
I've never heard of that. Usually they're anywhere from 1 to 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, it took it. Well, he was a 72-year-old man who was in good shape, but for that was the first clue on how this could affect. We knew that it had the capacity, but that was the first time we'd actually seen it occur, and it really shook the medical staff at the Spartanburg Regional Surgery place because they had never had anybody heal like this.
So every post-op recovery place should have it for surgical decisions, orthopedic repairs, eye repairs, even traumatic brain injuries. The neurointensive care unit where people get spinal cord compression, they're going to get gliosis, or intracranial hypertension. These should be put on their head, along with high-dose intravenous magnesium and other electrolytes to reduce post-op swelling. For example, if you remove a meningioma, you get intracranial hypertension all the time. So Dr. Russell Blaylock has discovered that if you give high-dose magnesium, I would say they should also have LUMEN Photon. Same way for pediatrics. A lot of kids aren't going to be able to tell you that they hurt or how they hurt, but using these in post-op pediatric cases would be great. Veterinary cases for little animals, dogs, cats, pets, birds. I'm sure you had some funny stories there, too. You mentioned about how pets will come over and sit on the lights if the wife or whatever leaves to go to the bathroom. The animal will say, I know that's my light now. I want that light.
And we first started using this on the equine group in our area because this is where the U.S. Olympic equestrian team trained for many, many years. So it's a lot of horses in the area, and over the course of the years, most of the vets in this area, and there are a lot of horse vets. How do they contact you, Ron? How do they call you directly if they want to get more information about LUMEN Photon? Yeah, that's simple. Ron at Lumen. That's simple enough. Yes. And how do they contact you again? Ron at lumenphoton.com. Or the number is Ron at lumenphoton.com. And, of course, it goes through our website, Nutrimedical. At Nutrimedical is even better. But what's the phone number, the 800 number? We don't have an 800 number. If they call and leave us a number, we'll call them right back. I'll give you the number again. Our number is 828-863-4834, and we'll cover there, Dr. Bill. Yeah. 828-863-4834. Yep. Stay right there, Ron. We'll get you booked for next week. Coming up in Hour 3, Tim Alexander, first half hour. Chris Harris. I'm on Hour 2 on the Rents Network program tonight.
Henry Ford once said, a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Alex Castle here, the National Account Executive at GCN. I have the ability to customize a national radio campaign based on your budget